Hey guys, today I'm back near Bitexo Financial Tower, and last time I met Antoine for a discussion we had in French about different topics regarding to finance, how as an expat you have to prepare your retirement and you have basically to prepare your plans, have a structure and have a proper plan. And today, because we got quite good feedback from the French community, today I asked his colleagues, so Benjamin, and together we're going to talk more about how everything works for UK people, from Australian people, in terms of preparing their retirement as well. So we're going to talk about different vehicle that we usually have as an expat to grow our wealth. So let's go together in the office with Benjamin. So here we are with Benjamin again. So in this video, I want us to discuss a little bit more about the non-French people. So as a reminder, the previous video we made with Antoine, your friend, was more talking about the financial advice for French people. So today I would like us to go deep a little bit more for the UK people, for the Swiss people, the Australian people. You do have also some US and South African customer, right?
Certainly.
So can you introduce yourself? Can you tell us for how long you've been in Vietnam and what do you provide?
Sure. My name is Benjamin Charbel. I've been here for over 8 years now. Married with a baby, certainly embedded into the expat community here over the last 8 years. Really building up a business based on referrals, obviously providing good sound advice for people, obviously useful advice, helpful advice, and the good thing is obviously with the business community here is you do a good job for people and they're very happy to recommend you here as well.
Yeah, this is how it works in Vietnam here. If you basically be able to provide a good service, you will have the expat community sharing your information, your contact, and it's quite actually it's quite like that. I mean, we met like this way. I just got the information to meet you. So here we are. So like my background, I don't think you guys know, but I was before working for a bank, and I'm also a little bit like thinking and learning a lot about investment. So for me, that's not really. I mean, when I heard about wealth manager, I would try to do things by my own and try to learn by myself. But actually, I do have some expats asking me how they can use the service of a wealth manager or firm like yours to really be able to grow. What could you say to an expat who could just come, have a little bit of savings, maybe doesn't know anything? Why you guys are so important actually in an expat, for an expat living in overseas?
Sure. I think when you're talking about investments for anyone, you do need to, first of all, it might be the first time that people are looking at investments, first of all, because quite often people are in a slightly more privileged situation here. Cost of living is a lot less, and often, you know, the packages that you're able to find from employers and the different situations you find here are maybe a bit more advantageous to allow you to actually be able to save more than, well, certainly I would be back home in the UK. So, you know, I would say, first of all, you want to have at least 3 to 6 months savings behind you, you know, really rainy day money. So if anything does happen, you do have enough money to kind of obviously buy that flight home or to get to the nearest capital city with a good quality hospital. Sort of
especially right now. I mean, it's the perfect time to talk about this. Like having a backup is really important as an expat. I do have some friends who got fired. So it's not, when you move overseas, you have to be by your own. So that's why you kind of really need to plan more. It's not you have the government who is backing you and will give you an allowance or something to help you. So it's a good point that you mentioned.
You also need to cover all your different bases. So having a good quality health insurance, obviously, like where we are at the moment. Often I find a lot of some of my clients where their companies provide a very basic insurance. People just forget about it, think they have it covered. But it is worth looking into each of the insurances to find out what it covers. For example, a lot of people drive bikes here. If you are riding a bike without a license here, you will obviously come across some issues if you do have issues there. So it's definitely worth looking into the insurance, and obviously having, you know, maybe if the policy documents are quite hard to read, having a professional to help you break it down so you're actually there understanding what you're covered for.
Okay, and about the matter of more financial service, that's what you are more into. So, what for? Let's take someone who just arrived, who has like 1 year of living here. That person start to have some saving and wanna start to prepare his retirement. Because as you may know, like here, if you have a local package as an expat, you won't have any money going into any pension. You have really to take actions by yourself and implement those strategies. So what's the few tips you should recommend an expat to implement to be able to prepare like efficiently his future?
Sure. I think you're absolutely right. Because very few companies here do actually provide that kind of pension benefits, it is up to you to do it yourself. Otherwise, you'll fall behind on that. I think that the cost of delay is massive here, because it's more often than not I'll meet with someone in their 40s or 50s who maybe have a 10, 15 or 20-year goal till they want to retire and have suddenly realised I need to do something about this now. So therefore, the amount that they're able to put away on a regular basis to achieve their goal is considerably more. More often than not, the younger the clients, the less they haven't actually thought about that kind of retirement side of things before. So probably this is their first investment they're looking to do. And the thing is that they have a lot longer to save for. So the amount they're able to put away on a regular basis is a lot lower. And obviously they have the ability to take maybe a little bit more risk and gain a bit slightly more rewards from that, from starting early. So the first tip I would sort of say is start as soon as you can. Just putting away something, that's the first sort of tip.
Okay, and so for a UK person, a Swiss person, let's say that person worked 10 years back in his hometown, is moving here, they can also kind of get what they usually had and kind of move the pension offshore, right? This is something also you help them to kind of make it grow.
Yeah.
How this stuff works?
Sure. Within the UK, it's estimated about 85% of all pension schemes in the UK are in a huge deficit. So this means that what they originally promised when people were signing up to these schemes is not what they're able to deliver. And we're seeing this, every day, and we see this in the headlines where my parents, for example, there's a 5-year difference between my parents, and my dad could retire at 60, whereas when my mum reached 60, the actual age jumped up to 65. So she had to work an extra 5 years longer. And now it's 67, and there's talk about it being 70 until we start doing things. So we're seeing that because these companies can't deliver, they're raising the age and they're changing the rules in which people can actually have the same benefits. So what I would say, first of all, the first tip is you need to look into your pensions. Whether or not you're UK, you're Swiss, or whatever nationality you are, you need to be able to look into one of your most valuable assets. Just like you'd look after a car, just like you'd look after your house or any other asset, a pension is one of your most valuable assets. So giving that bit of TLC, actually look into it and find out how it's performing is very important.
Even in terms of tax side, it's also kind of good to pay attention into this because you can optimize when you move abroad, where it's located, or you can set up it properly so you can also save, and with the accumulate interest after 10 years, maybe you really win a lot. Right?
Yeah, from a tax point of view, most options. The first thing is obviously looking into the pension. The second thing is when are you likely to start drawing down from your pension? Some people will be moving and drawing down in Vietnam, so there's obviously an element of tax there. Other people will be sort of living abroad and then move back to the UK and before sort of drawing down there. So it's definitely worth looking at what sort of benefits are there. Often the options that are available to you, there's one particular option in Vietnam that's very popular, which is a self-invested pension plan. Okay. Where actually it's a UK regulated plan, it stays where it is in the UK, it just allows much more flexibility. So instead of 65 or 67 even now, where you can access your pension, you actually can access it from 55. So this is a huge difference. The other thing that's very misconceptive about UK pensions is that people often think that they can leave 100% if they're left in the UK, they can leave 100% to the loved ones, either here in Vietnam or back home. Actually, that's not the case. Upon death, 50% is the maximum that's able to be left to anyone. And if there's a large age difference between a husband and a wife, for example, then it's even less that's able to be
for the wife.
For the wife. So this is very, very important and very often overlooked. Whereas obviously the other options by doing something with it and moving and taking control of it, you're not only reducing currency risk, so obviously you're able to invest in other currencies, but also you can leave 100% to your loved ones. And the tax side thing is very different for every individual person, but often not much changes, certainly not from the UK side of it. A lot of countries in Asia, like the Philippines, Thailand and Vietnam, although they change the rules sometimes, they do offer a lot of more tax benefits for retirees retiring here. So certainly worth sort of seeking tax advice when looking to draw down on some of these pensions in these countries.
Okay, so it's very good for the UK people. So what about the Swiss as well? Is there any specificities? Is there any kind of things they can prepare to be able to either move their pension out or adjust it? So when they live, let's say 10, 20 years overseas, they really take all the benefit from this pension. What do you have with the Swiss people?
Sure, with the Swiss people, or even anyone that's worked in Switzerland, same as sort of the UK pension, anyone who's worked in the UK and have a UK pension. So obviously with the Swiss, the second that someone leaves Switzerland, pensions are stopped being invested, and they often are cashed into and they sit there in cash. So currently, the current situation in Switzerland is that any cash accounts in Switzerland are in negative interest territory. So obviously, if your money's just sitting in cash, normally that means that it will just be eaten away by inflation. But if it's now also being eaten away by minus 0.5 or 0.75% interest rate, then you're really, your pension benefits are losing a lot. So one of the parts of our service, because we are a kind of global company, and we've got office in Switzerland as well, through our Swiss office, we can help our Swiss clients and people with Swiss pensions move from one tax canton to another. The benefit of doing so would be basically the amount of tax they would have to pay should they want to access that. So if, for example, if it's Bern or Zurich, these are quite high tax cantons. So what we would do is look at a more tax efficient tax canton with minimal taxes to pay. So if they did want to access their pension, they can. Obviously, what we're here to do is help show them, we're trying to explain that this is a pension still, so it should be kept as a pension and still be invested. So we look at kind of a more efficient, more international, kind of globally accessible vehicle, which allows it to grow tax-free, and that will be the sort of solution for those. But quite often we have our clients who want to take a portion now and then invest the rest as well. So all that's possible with our services.
It's very good. It's like as soon as you really consult your firm or others, this is what you can access actually. If you type those kind of information and there is a lack of content, that's why actually I wanted to kind of digest this topic and meet people who does their job, so they can really digest them for you, or at least even if we don't tell you the step-by-step plan how you can do it, at least you are aware that there is like a way to really optimize everything. And after it's a matter of meeting the right person. Again, here, I mean, you guys are very flexible. You can go for a coffee, explain the big picture, so the person can learn everything, and after that's a matter for them to go work with you or not.
Sure.
Yeah. So here actually, talking about that, you do have, I mean, in terms of the firm and the finance institution, you do have a lot of kind of competition. As an expat, when you move here, you are kind of hunt by a wealth manager who gonna, so some of them gonna over promise you stuff, and other are like kind of more telling you what is wrong, what is good, what is wrong, and where you should go. What's your opinion on that? What do you think?
Yeah, I get it quite a lot from my friends. They get calls here and there from kind of financial people. There is a lot of kind of cold calling in the industry, and in a lot of cases, it's not every day we wake up and say, you know, today's the day we go and organise our finances and go and make sure we're achieving the best we can. So sometimes it does take a nudge in the right direction just to allow people to understand that our service is there. So obviously there are a lot of companies that sort of offer very similar services. The Veer Group are probably one of the largest in the world, and one of the main reasons we're so successful and obviously popular with a lot of our clients is because wherever any of our clients are likely to move to, we're more than likely going to have an office somewhere close. So we've got offices in all around the world, across Europe, across Asia, America, Australia, etc. So you know, a holistic advice. So while they're working in Vietnam with my clients, I'll be meeting them very regularly, keeping regular communication. Should they move to another country, very easy to either continue to work with them remotely or through the changeover, or once they are in location, pass them over to an advisor who will continue that same level of service. A lot of companies have outsourced a lot of their different scenarios. The lucky thing with the Veer is that everything's in-house. So we've got our own foreign exchange service, we've got our own property company, section of the company, our own tax department over there. And also we've got a world of expertise. So obviously if I do come up with a client from one country and need a bit of specific advice on that country, you know, the access that I have, the access that we have as a company, the communication between us, you know, speaking with technical advisors around the world, tax advisors around the world is huge. So what goes into obviously preparing these plans is a huge amount of work, and having a global network as a company is ideal.
Yeah, so definitely, as you just say, having a group all over the world can really help you to take someone who is just starting, let's say 25, just arrived, and help that person to grow financially, like all along his career. And in the end, also, we didn't really talk about that, but what about someone who gonna get retired? Do you also help them and give advice to, let's say, that person wanna move to Thailand, to Cambodia? Here we are in Vietnam, so we do have some retired people living here, also in the Philippines. You help them also at that time to kind of prepare everything and have everything like smooth, so they can really relax and enjoy their retirement. Yeah,
absolutely. That is a big part about what we do. I think, you know, one of the main services is we're always trying to forward think of scenarios that might affect people. You know, looking at kind of when they might want to retire, how much they want to live on, what their lifestyles are going to be, and helping them try and understand that, obviously, budget for that. So if you want, for example, 3,000 a month to be living on, you need to be able to, which is 36,000 a year, you need to be for 20 years. That's a portfolio of at least 720,000 over that 20-year period. So starting early, looking at how much to plan, and obviously adjusting it. Quite often, the closer to retirement people are, maybe they'll put slightly more into their retirement savings than maybe someone younger. So we're really looking at help people budget how much they need to do to be achieving things. Plus also, obviously, the older people are, generally the more risk adverse they are, because obviously when you're starting talking about investing, everyone thinks about large amounts of growth. Well, quite often you can invest in fixed interest accounts and sort of bonds and lower risk asset classes. So the closer to retirement, the more defensive products we would then include in someone's portfolio. And really, you know, every individual person has got different needs. So we're looking to design those bespoke portfolios according to each and every one of our clients, depending on where they are and what their goals are at the end of the day there.
Okay, sounds good. So actually you are also launching a website with content, and you digest like more deep in detail the different topics we share today. We're gonna put in the description your link, so you can learn more about your work, and also if you guys also, like we say, you have Australian, South African people, US with kind of also specificities. So it will be definitely, if you guys are right now considering of maybe getting help, I would really recommend you to get in touch. Actually, you can check in the description. I will put a form. We can discuss together. We can exchange a little bit. And if you have any, if you wanna learn more about your work, I will follow everything. Do you wanna close something? You have a last word for our audience?
Yeah, I think a lot of people often ask me, why do I need financial advice? So I think I just wanted to touch on that subject. And in a lot of cases, some people are very busy with their own individual work, and obviously there's time. In general cases, we can have more access to different things. And also, a lot of people have a misconception that the financial advice is going to cost a lot. I think one of the most important things about what we do is offering just really, every meeting, all of our meetings, there is no cost for sitting down and actually meeting with a financial professional, and without obligation. So you don't need to be doing anything. But with the UK people, there's little tips that we can point them into doing, how to keep up with their national insurance contributions. With French people, looking at the as Antoine explained, some of the different areas of the assurance fee. Every different nationality is going to have its own sort of area of that they might need a little bit of pointing in the right direction on how to be most efficient. We also have foreign exchange services free, and it's going to save kind of clients money on their foreign exchange services. So there's a huge variety of services. And not all of them cost anything at all, so it's just worth sitting down and kind of understanding how to best start planning for kind of things you're definitely going to need in the future.
Okay, thank you, Benjamin, for this interview. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, check in the description. I will put some links, some resources, so we can get in touch and talk more in private about your personal situation. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we see together maybe in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Cool.